Right, so I'm just making this video today really just to discuss something that I saw on YouTube last night. I saw a guy and he said no truer words than this. If it's not within your circle of control, don't let it affect your mental and spiritual health. So what I got from that was there's a lot going on in the world at the moment, and people seem to be getting their fingers stuck in pies that don't concern them. Not only that, people that are on the outside that have got nothing to do with it, they're getting themselves involved emotionally and spiritually, and if you do that, it basically creates a void, which means that you cannot produce anything. So for yourself, you can't produce your life, you can't produce things going forward, and you can't plan for the future. So that's exactly where they want you. So I think there's a lot of truth in that comment that he spoke. Another thing as well was people that are like mentioning others have become rude and abrupt, and I think that this is possibly due to like the fact that people are starting to tell the truth a bit more, and people don't really like that. A lot of the time they've been used to, over the last 10 years, of people going around the issues and not actually telling the truth. So now people are telling the truth. It seems like people are being abrupt and horrible with them, but they're not. They're just saying it how it is, you know, like they're calling a spade a spade. Another one as well really was, it's only a conspiracy theory until other eyes are open to the suggestion. Lots and lots of things going on at the moment. Even people saying what they were taught at school is a load of garbage, because they're thinking of other things. They're thinking outside the box a little bit, and things are changing. Times are a-changing. As the Bob Dylan song goes, times they are a-changing. From senators and congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't block up your hall. And there's lots and lots of things really when you look into it, about the song that he sang, about rattling windows and shaking walls, and I'm sure some of the politicians at the moment are experiencing that on a physical level, but also we've got a battle outside raging, which I suppose you could look at it biblically. I'm not really into the Bible and I don't read it, but you know, there is a battle outside raging, and I think what it is the spiritual side of it, trying to battle the good, sort of like Satan battling evil, so bad versus good, and what that's doing, it's making people make rash decisions in their lives, and that's one of them. You know, when people say it's only conspiracy theory until others' eyes are open, well, straight away you're looking at the things there that were mentioned perhaps in the gospel, that are looking to be coming true. Another thing on that as well, in terms of the Bible, I've never read it, but it's something that I want to have a look at and look into, because I think it'd be quite interesting really, because when you look at it and you look at the way that people are being censored on YouTube nowadays, and you think you can't say this, you can't say that, there's a very key similarities, because from what I gather, I've never read the Bible, I've heard people talking about it, but from what I gather, the Bible is talking about people, all right? So for example, you might have, what's his name, John, or you might have, I don't know, Abraham, or the something of Babylon. I don't know, the Babylonians, I don't know, so I've not really looked into it, but they're talking about people in that. So the way I'm looking at it now, I'm thinking a lot of people are saying that the Bible doesn't actually refer to those physical people at all. It refers to yourself, and people don't want you to know that. So when the Bible's referring to Matthew, Mark, is it John, Luke, whatever his name is, and his disciples and everything that they did, they're not really referring to things that they did. They're referring to yourself, and you yourself are a God, all right? So I'll put this to you. For example, on YouTube nowadays, you can't say anything without you get blasted by someone. You get bad comments, you get these people saying you can't say it, so on and so forth. Now, back in the day, when this, should I say, is it allegory, story was written, basically, it just came to me today out of nowhere, this thought: is it feasible that the Bible was written under the same similar circumstances as what's going on with YouTube now, where you can't actually say what you think, so you have to work around it with allegory. So when the Bible's referring to perhaps Jesus, is it referring to a part of your body that can become awakened, you know, that's reborn? Because there's a hell of a lot of people waking up now in the minds and the bodies. Is it feasible? Because the things you can't say on YouTube now, is it feasible that you would have been persecuted when that was written? Okay, so I guess there's an Old Testament and a New Testament. I don't know the difference, but when these things were written, would you be burnt at the stake? You know, would there be something that would affect the way that you applied yourself to write that? And I think that's true in much respects, because a lot of the time, some people nowadays, they're obviously on YouTube and they cannot say what they think. Now, I did a poem about that, about not saying what you think. And when you can't say what you think, it has a karmatic impact. And there's an karmatic implication, because you're lying. You're not saying what you think. And we go back again to the comment that I made earlier about people being rude. They're not being rude. It's just that they're telling the truth. Yeah. And I get sometimes there are people, there's a difference between being rude and being abusive and offensive. Now, people can take it whichever way they want, but if they're telling the truth, you're not being rude, you're not being offensive, you're just telling the truth. And in the eyes of the Lord, that's what he wants. That's what Satan doesn't want. Anyway, getting back to it, is it feasible that the Bible was written under similar circumstances of persecution that we face now with YouTube and the UK, and political as well? Because it just came to my mind before, and I thought maybe they had to write it in that way so they wouldn't be persecuted. It's just a thought. I mean, I'm going to throw it out there for people to think of anyway. What I'll say though, a bit of advice is, in the times that we're living in now, so for example, you know, you've got a lot going on, there's a lot of weird things happening, a lot of weird goings on. I'd say that throughout your day, don't let Satan run it. So try and think of ways that you can sort of appease God, because I know, I haven't read the Bible, but I know of the 10 Commandments, and if we live by the 10 Commandments, you can't go far wrong. What I would do is just recall moments of the day and dreams that you've had. I mean, it can be very much like Groundhog Day, as a guide to get through what's going on in 2026. It's Groundhog Day. Now, if you act your life out in terms of the same thing over and over again, you're not getting any different results. So what I would do is just a bit of a word of advice, and this came to me as well today, I'm going to try it myself, is if the same thing's happening day in, day out, the next day change it and just see if you can appease God and not the devil. Appease the Lord and not Satan himself. And I think that way you're proving yourself to have good karma, and then obviously karma comes back to bite people if you're bad. So people don't really realise that. That's something I do realise, and yet I'm not really into the Bible. I don't know anything about the Bible really, and I'm not a church goer, but I know that there's good karma and bad karma. So basically a rerun of what you've done in the day, have a think about it at night, and then think, right, okay, I'll meditate on this and think how I'm going to do it better in the morning. Can I deal with that person better than I did yesterday? It might be that you get up in the morning and do something a certain way and it always goes wrong. Well, why would you keep doing it wrong? Make it better. All right, and tell others how you've made it better as well. You're allowed to talk to people and tell people how you've improved things. Yeah. At the moment, there's a lot of people that are subdued by it. A lot of people in a downgraded state of spirituality, and you can see that the mental health's not very good. And I've spoke about this before in other videos prior to this in my car. So yeah, I just think think about the things that you've done during the day, and then how are you going to improve them the next day. How are you going to be nice to people? Just show a lot of love really, to people. And again, I'm just going to go back to this point, and I wrote it down. I'm reading from a bit of a script here. It's not off the cuff, it's something that came to me last night, but I've wrote it down. That's another thing, write it down. If something comes to you from the ether, write it down, because the chances are it's coming from the air around you. You know, your brain's a big antenna at the end of the day, and it's picking up signals, it's picking up good and bad. But again, I'm going to finish on this one, and if it's not within your circle of control, don't let it affect your mental and spiritual health. And that's the main thing, because there's things going on in other countries now that have nothing to do with us. We've not instigated them. There's lots and lots of things going on. Don't feel guilty about it. Don't ever feel guilty about something that somebody else has decided to do. It's not what you've decided to do. Yeah? Stick with them 10 commandments and you can't go far wrong. What I'll do another video about the Bob Dylan song, because I think there's a lot of things in that, so that relate to this, what I'm trying to say today. So the battle outside raging, soon shake your windows and rattle your walls. The times, they are a changing. Yeah, and what's happening this day and age, the times are changing, but the people aren't changing for the times. And this is where they're messing up and thinking, oh, I'm depressed and nothing's happening for me. Basically, they're stuck in what I would call Groundhog Day, because they're not going back and reviewing how they've done things and what they're going to do to improve things. They've not got a plan anymore. I think half the people I speak to now don't know what they're doing, and you need that plan, you need that vision for the future, because otherwise, I've spoke about this before, what's the point if you don't have a vision for the future and somebody's constantly standing on you and stamping on you all the time? It might be someone external, it might be someone in your family, it might be someone, your friends, it could be anyone that's standing on you or treading you down to belittle you, basically. Then you're not going to want to be planning for things for the future, and stuff like that. And what I will say as well, there's a really poignant part of the Bob Dylan song, Times They Are Changing, that I'll go into another time, but it's really apt. Basically, have a look at the 10 commandments. I'm going to have a look tonight, and look at what they are. And if you live by that, you can't go far wrong. But what I will say is 2026, wow, it's been a year already, and it's like only the 6th of January, and you're thinking to yourself, wow. I actually feel quite good about this year, despite what I think may be in the pipeline. The reason being is that I'm in a state of mind where I need to be, and I'm not letting others control that state of mind. The worst thing you can be is a victim. Now, victimhood is the worst thing ever. You feel guilty, you feel like you're a victim, your reliance on other people, but that's another story for another time, the reliance on other people thing. I think you can be too reliant, really, and what that does when you're reliant on other people, it just basically plans life for you. You're not planning life for yourself. So I'm going to end it again. Times They Are A-Changing. Bob Dylan, have a look into that. Have a look into 10 Commandments. And basically that's part of your compass, really. I mean, that's what I'm going to start doing. And again, I'm going to repeat this again. If it's not in your circle of control, don't let it affect your mental health and your spiritual health. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If there's any comments you want to add below, there might be something that you've picked up on this video that's similar to yourself, just let me know and put it in the comments, and I can talk about it another time. But I'm definitely finding things starting to come to fruition now, especially in this year. I think we're going to have a bit of a weird one, but a bit of an exciting one at the same time. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.